Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well. How often do you guys feel the urge to just pack a bag and go on a foreign trip? After all, the world has so much to offer, and travel shows you to witness so many things. Well, most of you must have considered Europe as the perfect travel destination at least once in your life. But the associated cost must have made the idea sound unfeasible. Well, you don't have to worry anymore. Today we're going to tell you guys about how you can plan a trip through Europe with $5,000. So, let's begin. Airfares are usually the major hurdle that prevents would-be tourists from exploring Europe's sidewalks, byways, and plazas. Many people circumvent this by using frequent flyer miles or other methods, such as scanning airline deal pages. It's something feasible to acquire round-trip flights between North America and Europe for significantly less money during the winter months than during the more popular summer months. If you can't travel during that period, the shoulder seasons of mid-spring and mid-fall can help you avoid the high summer fares. Flying through Ireland or Iceland might sometimes save you money. Those locations are also excellent stopovers. Many visitors who have just spent a short time in either location wish to return for a longer stay. The typical airfare is around $650, but as we said, it differs from season to season, and the price of the ticket is also affected by booking a multi-destination ticket. This is where you fly into one city and out of another. It is often cheaper than a direct ticket. Now that you've arrived in Europe, it's time to see where you're going to live and how you're going to move on. Let us talk about the accommodations first. As you might expect, the cost of a trip to Europe will vary substantially based on your preferences and the locations you visit. For your accommodation, we recommend setting up $150 each night, which works out to $19.50 for 13 nights. Europe offers a wide range of accommodations, from hostels to luxury hotels, so you can easily find something to suit your budget. The budget we gave you is for mid-range hotels, but if you're a backpacker, then you can make do with hostels, which cost around $15 to $20 a night. Alternatively, there are travelers who don't mind dishing out money. In that case, be ready to pay anything north of $200 a night for a stay in a luxury hotel. There's even another option, and that's Airbnbs. They've gotten expensive over the last couple of years, but you can find a decent accommodation within $100, but that's just a rough average, so you can expect prices to be a bit higher, or maybe even lower, depending on the location of the rental unit. Now let's talk about the local transport. We'll assume that you took the multi-destination ticket and won't need to come back to the city you landed in. We recommend a budget of $400 for all the traveling that you're going to do. Now, this may seem like a lot to some people, but remember that this includes your travel to and from the airport, day trips, and any other public transportation you use. This budget is good if you're only considering moving around neighboring countries. If you plan on visiting countries that don't share borders with the country you landed in, then the cost is definitely going to go up. With that said, you should definitely consider buying your train ticket well in advance, as you'll get better prices and a confirmed seat. Let us move on to another important consideration of a visit to a foreign country: the food. Many first-time tourists budget for transportation and lodging, only to find that restaurant bills exceed their eating budget. It happens all too often. Food expenditures are overestimated, and the cost of a trip skyrockets. However, there are a variety of ways to locate inexpensive dining options in Europe or anywhere else in the world. Make the most of breakfast, which is frequently included in the price of a stay in Europe. Picnicking is crucial when you can, because certain places of Europe charge extra to sit at a table. Now, the food budget will vary from person to person, but a rough estimate for a meal including drinks would be around $45 a day. This might be high to some but low for others, but we recommend that you try mixing up your eating routines by alternating between street food, fast food, and eating at restaurants. But don't be too frugal with your eating expense. Every country has its own kind of delicacy, and you do not want to miss out on these treats. Always remember that food is an important part of any journey, so don't miss out on stuff because you thought it was a little too expensive. This does not mean that you blow your entire budget on food, but it might be okay to loosen the strings of your purse now and then. With food and travel covered, many people forget to factor in the shopping that they're going to do while they're there. Honestly, this might be a little hard to assume, as everyone has different priorities, but one thing is certain, and that is that you need to keep some money aside for blowing out on gifts or souvenirs. As you can expect, some cities provide superior shopping opportunities than others, so consider your options and budget appropriately. For example, suppose you're planning a trip to Italy and want to buy a leather purse. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you have enough money set aside for it. We recommend that you keep $200 to $400 for all those shopping expenses. Now that everything's covered, let us tell you a few ways to cut these costs. Our first advice to you is to save by destination. Do you know where to seek in Rome for clean accommodations at reasonable prices? What Venice areas prey on tourists by offering overpriced food? In Berlin, what's a cheap but filling snack? As you plan your European itinerary, keep in mind some destination-specific recommendations. The pricey reputations of several European cities intimidate many first-time travelers. They've heard stories about customers who paid $14 for a cheeseburger or $300 per night for a typical hotel room. While such expenses are absolutely feasible, rest assured that even in the costliest places, there are ways to save. Our second recommendation is that you consider going to places which don't see much tourist activity. It is undeniable that some parts of Europe are more expensive than others. How do you locate the most cost-effective destinations? One option is to choose the less traveled path. Discover destinations that aren't tourist traps, and you'll typically get more bang for your buck. Both Greece and Turkey are beautiful places to visit, but Turkey is far less expensive. Another example is Germany's East Frisia, which is located in the country's northwest corner and has lower pricing and a slower pace. In such places, you may exchange a metro token for a bike rental, adding variety to your itinerary while saving money. Now, our last piece of advice isn't for most people, as it's a bit difficult to implement. But have you ever considered sleeping on trains to save on hotel costs? Trains in Europe provide a degree of service that's unmatched in North America. Many first-time tourists buy rail passes, which save them both time and money. On select trains, you can also sleep for the night for an additional cost. Pulling out of a station late at night and arriving at the next stop on your itinerary 8 hours later saves a lot of money. The savings can be quantified in time. Do you want to spend the best part of a day in Europe staring out your window at Germany's industrial heartland? You sleep throughout the day and save your waking hours for more exciting vacation adventures. There is a financial benefit because the cost of a night train is frequently less than the cost of all but the cheapest hotel rooms. You awaken in the heart of a new metropolis, ready to face the challenges of the day. One word of caution, sleeping on a train is difficult for many individuals. It's evident that it's not for everyone. Seeing Europe on a budget of $5,000 is absolutely possible. You just have to do some planning, which will obviously include your accommodations and the length of your stay. But always remember that places like London, Paris, and the Scandinavian countries will always cost more than the other less famous destinations. But if you stick to budget airlines, trains, and mid-size hotels, then you won't have any major problems in enjoying your stay. So that's all the time we had today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, and do hit the bell icon to remain updated about all our future videos. See you all next time!